powered by Riverside FM.
Woohoo! 50 episodes of Kaleidoscopic Lens. For a podcast that started as a small germ of an idea several months ago, to reach 50 episodes is quite satisfying. In fact, it's 50 episodes more than you might have ever imagined, or indeed wanted, but you've got them anyway.
Woohoo! And by popular demand, I am back. 50 episodes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me, how did it start for you?
Good question. A while ago, I recorded a silly voice note for some friends on WhatsApp, in which I was mimicking presenting. I was told it would be a good idea for me to do a podcast. I didn't agree and didn't fancy it at the time, dismissing the idea. But the seed was planted, and a few months later, I decided to go ahead and give it a go.
Oh, interesting and great. Well done. Tell me, are you enjoying the creative process?
I absolutely am, and I hope that comes across in the episodes. Each one is a mini project, but I'm getting a lot of satisfaction from doing them, researching them, and putting them out there.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that your podcast is somewhat unique.
Thank you.
Where'd you get the ideas from?
Well, I think you'd need to consult episode 17, Light Bulb Moments, where I talked about where ideas come from. Look, it's hard to say. As you can tell from the subject matter varying from episode to episode, some of these things are anecdotes from my life, others are bits of analysis, or things that I've been pondering or seen in the media. It's not a set formula.
Yes, clearly. Does that mean that you do not have a target audience?
I think that's fair. I'd like to consider the podcast open to all. And part of the benefit of having topics that vary from episode to episode is that there's something for everybody. I know not every episode will land with everyone, but they're short enough that if one misses for you, you can go on to something else, which you might find more interesting.
Fair. Would you say that you've learned something yourself through this process of creating 49 episodes?
I've certainly learned about some niche subject matter, things like elderly people committing crimes or dry stone walling. I've also learned a little bit about audio editing, which for those listeners who were there at the very start will attest was pretty rough, but hopefully it's getting better, even if it's still got a long way to go. I also think I've learned a little bit about how to make the material more interesting, and I'm trying to bring people into the question that I'm exploring.
As far as bringing people goes, how is that going? How big is your audience?
I'm afraid that's highly confidential. I can't share that. And I can't share precise numbers with you for risk of tipping off rival podcasts. But I will tell you that it's certainly a global audience.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I understand that you can't share with me how big your audience is, but perhaps you could share whether you've received any comments, feedback from those who are listening to you.
I can, and I've not received much, but I have received some. And I'm pleased to say it's generally been quite considered and constructive. Some of it has been fed in directly. For example, one listener had some tips on which audio setup to use. Others have come indirectly. For example, one person left comments describing the podcast as consistently surprising.
Oh, very nice. For those listening to us today, should they want to leave you some feedback or some thoughts, how can they do that?
That would be really welcome. I'd certainly appreciate feedback from listeners, especially on areas they'd like to hear more about or if there are things they'd like to hear less about. If you're a Spotify user, you can leave feedback via the comment function for each episode. If you're using another podcast platform, you'll have to put your feedback in directly to the creator.
So now you're expecting vast tons of listeners to provide you with some feedback.
I hope so. Yes, I'll be expecting a bulging letterbox next week.
Good luck. So, on the subject of reflection, do you have a favorite episode?
It's a great question. There's been some real highs amongst the lows and the chaff as well. But I think there is a clear winner. My personal favourite has to be episode 18, Wavy. It was one which received a few positive comments from listeners, and I enjoyed it a lot. I will, however, also give an honourable mention to episode 3, Night Watch, which had a bit of a personal insight in it. and also a special award for Best Cover Picture and Title Strapline for episode 40, Ode to a Martingale. For the keen observer, if you're looking for a bit of an Easter egg, please scrutinize the cover art for that episode carefully.
Yeah, Night Watch episode 3. I think that was topping the charts for some time. My personal favorite.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah. Is it still topping the charts?
No, it isn't. It's actually now episode 10, Pingu. It's out in front by quite some margin. Although I am a bit worried that may actually just reflect a high number of disappointed listeners who were looking for some genuine Pingu content.
Um, on the other hand, are there any episodes that maybe had not landed very well?
Sadly, there are. Episode 21, Passive Aggressive, got absolutely torn to shreds from multiple corners. It was a clear misstep. And episode 5, Take Cover, seems to have left absolutely everybody completely baffled.
Only those two?
Ah!
Anyway, so it's a mixed bag, isn't it? Well, going with the feedback that you've quoted of consistently surprising, dare I ask, what can the listener expect from the next 50 episodes?
What a question. Well, I'm very pleased to say that I think this is the moment at which I do commit to 50 more episodes. What's that I hear? It's people chanting 50 more, 50 more, 50 more. As to what topics might be covered, well, it's hard to say. And indeed, the nature of the podcast is I myself can't predict at this stage. I would just leave you a little bit of a teaser that there are a few scripts in the works. I very much hope you'll still be there at number 100.